Hi everyone, welcome to Active Self-Protection Extra. Today on John's Briefs, here with the archmage of attorneys, Terry Johnson from Firearms Legal Protection. And today I want to ask Terry, he has no knowledge this is coming. I want to ask him, as a guy who interviews hundreds of attorneys for their chops in self-defense to make sure that their members are well represented, I want to ask Terry what the dumbest thing he's ever heard an attorney argue in court. Firearms Legal Protection just started a 100% free monthly newsletter to bring quality, accurate information about legal self-defense to good, sane, sober, moral, prudent people like you. Go sign up for free, no-hassle help for your self-defense at the link in the description, and thank them for sponsoring today's lesson. Now, Terry, I want to limit this to self-defense and firearms. Now, because I know you've seen plenty of attorneys do plenty of stupid stuff. And just because you can pass the bar does not mean that you do a good job. No. I've said this 100 times. You can be a professional at something and not good at it.
Well, you know, I say this all the time to anybody who wants to go to law school, or, you know, and I'm going to say this to John now because, again,
I'm not going.
We want John to go to law school, right?
I'm not going.
So just because you take the LSAT and do well, the LSAT does not prepare you for law school. Law school does not prepare you for the bar, and the bar does not prepare you for the practice of law.
Doesn't that sound terrible?
It is crazy, but that's just the way it is. So you will have lots of people who will stand up in court and say and do stupid things. And you sit there and, you know, some of the arguments and some of the other things that you hear in court, and most attorneys, you know, this is obviously pre-COVID, you know, you kind of sit there and you're not really paying attention to what's going on. I mean, I can tell you there are many a times I've walked out and, you know, someone will say, hey, what did that guy say? I don't know, it's not my case, I'm not listening.
Yeah, I'm thinking about my case, not listening to somebody else's.
But there are things, I've seen people blow the most simple things like arraignments. I have actually seen attorneys do that. They're not criminal defense attorneys, but I have seen people blow arraignments at times.
Wow. Now, you're going to have to describe what that means to everybody. Arraignment
is basically a time when you go to court and they tell you the charges that are in front of you, and they tell you, more likely than not, a bond situation. What I mean by that is, you know, these are the charges, and you're looking at 10 years to life, whatever the number is, and I'm going to set a bond for you. Generally, the only thing an attorney should do up front is say, you know, either basically not guilty or stand mute before the court and let the court enter a not guilty. I've seen attorneys try and argue a case at that point. And
that's pretty dumb.
Yes, it's literally the My Cousin Vinny situation.
Which I love. I love that movie.
Yeah, and it's just like there is a process that people have got to understand.
Right.
I have seen... you know, and I'll give you one I had to do. You know, she says one of the dumbest things, but, you know, don't judge me, even though I know people are going to, but that's okay. I had a guy that wanted to go to court, and all the evidence was stacked up against him, and, you know, wanted to. So listen, this is going to be difficult, and he really didn't care because he knew he was going to prison anyway.
Okay. He just wanted to fight it.
He wanted to show.
Okay.
Okay, and. Ballistics were against me, bullet hole entries were against me, and long story short, this guy, you know, this was my closing argument, and it went something along these lines. It's like, you know, my guy may be a lot of things. You may think he's you know, a criminal. He's not. You may think he's a bad guy. He's not. But one thing he is, he's quick. And let me tell you what I mean by this. My guy is probably the fastest person I've ever seen in my life, okay? So what happened in this situation is my guy, you know, he pulled his gun out, and I'm sorry, let me rephrase that, not my guy, the other person, you know, the victim, you know, my guy pulled a gun out, and, you know, the victim was scared. He was afraid. He saw my guy with the gun, and my guy shot 3 times. My victim, being as quick as he is, saw the bullets coming at him, and he turned real fast and started to run away, and that is how the bullets got in the back.
Well, I mean, we can make an expert case on that.
Now, the dumbest thing I've ever had to argue, and, you know, the question is, how many of you believe that? Show of hands out there. And, of course, no hands went up. The jury didn't believe it either.
Right, right.
But sometimes you just got to make an argument.
Well, it's an interesting bit. So you've seen attorneys now. Obviously, that's what. Listen, when somebody hands you chicken garbage, chicken feathers, you can't make no chicken salad.
Exactly.
Right. But I know you've also seen attorneys who make poor arguments. I've seen them as an expert witness. I've been an expert witness for a side that the other side was making literally just completely inane arguments,
right?
And making mistakes like that. So of course then the question becomes, when I see that, how do I make sure that I don't have an attorney who's a moron?
Well, the good thing about what we do at Firearms Legal Protection, we do a lot of vetting. We ask a lot of questions. We don't want an attorney in our network that says, okay, it's Thursday, you've been locked up, and how soon can you get to my client who's locked up in jail? And they say, well, can't really do anything over the weekend. Probably Monday afternoon at the earliest. It's like, okay, that's the first thing. You're not in our network.
Right.
Because we need to get you to get there right away.
Right.
Now, the other part of that comes down to you just have conversations with them. We brought on another fabulous attorney here in the Phoenix area. Had dinner with him last night, as a matter of fact.
Oh, did you?
And this guy's phenomenal. Just in some of the questions and some of the comments that we talked about last night were phenomenal. Now, I have seen people, like you said, I can't stop. You've got 6 eyewitnesses, 3 of them are nuns. There's a video camera above and a written confession from you, and you think you're going to go to court and be found not guilty. Probably not going to happen. Probably
not. I mean, again, if you did the thing and the thing was wrong, you're going to jail. I mean, you're going to go to prison.
Right.
There's no way around that.
Right.
So I think the easy way is to have firearms legal protection, straight up. That's why I have it. That's why my staff has it, right? Because now I know, wait a minute, we've got vetted people who have a track record, who know the right thing to do, and do it.
Correct.
And have the ability to do it well. I know people are going to ask, but what if I don't? Well, A, fix that noise, it's cheap. But B, if you're obstreperous and you won't, the answer is you've got to go and interview them. And you've got to go, and most attorneys I don't think are going to do that for free.
Well, let's go back. You got to interview them, but here's the first part of this. The question you really want to ask, what are you looking for? If you don't know what you're looking for, like, for example, you want a plumber, right? What's a good plumber? Well, who do you ask? I'm not going to ask my neighbor, because they may have had a different situation than me. I'm not going to go through, the yellow pages. Linda gets mad when I say yellow pages, that I guess
it's
I'm
old
dating
school,
myself,
right?
But it's yellow pages. But
welcome to the 21st century, Terry.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
But but the question is, what process are you using to vet someone? I look at it this way. The analogy I love to give is, imagine you're having a heart attack right now and you're being wheeled into the operating room, and the nurse comes over to you. She puts her hand on your shoulder and says, "Don't worry, Mr. Correa, the podiatrist will be here in 5 minutes."
Yeah, wait, what?
But he's a doctor.
Right. So again, if somebody says, "Oh yeah, I do criminal law," all right, cool.
Misdemeanor or felony.
Right. Misdemeanor or felony. What kind of criminal law? There's a lot of criminal laws, nothing to do with self-defense and with firearms use. And so, okay, no, I've got real specialty in that area. Well, how do I know? Right. Well, somebody who's a fellow expert can go, tell me about your credentialing in that arena, tell me about your experience in that arena, tell me about how you handle X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
There are points of law that, quite frankly, you don't know what you're going to ask. I mean, if you ask it, oh, geez, Terry's going to say, oh, send John to law school. But when it's wrong. But when an attorney asks another attorney and say, what are your biggest 3 priorities in voir dire? And so another attorney, then they talk attorney stuff about how you're choosing a jury, but you don't know how to ask those stupid questions when you're a regular human being. But those 2 questions, that question might be very, very important.
Right. As opposed to just give me 12 that sit in the box. No.
So those are the kind of things that you want to ask in advance. And quite frankly, in our litigious society, for this particular issue of self-defense, when the rest of your life is at stake, I think you don't want a stupid attorney. And
when you find out, it may be too late.
It really will.
And costly.
It really will. Now I'm just going to say, you're going to have to trust me a little bit here, that in a couple of expert witness trials and incidents that I've been a part of, and I got to respect privacy and those issues. But the other side, very often, is A, not very competent, B, not very moral. Quite frankly, not doing
Right.
things the right way, because sometimes their politics get in the way and their desire to be elected on the one side. So if we're talking about criminal stuff, you're talking about a district attorney who's an elected official
Yes.
who has to set forth a particular tough on crime, or we don't like guns around here. Face to their constituency, whether or not that's right. And so, to have those things, you go, no, wait a minute, I want the person on my side to be a highly skilled professional.
And someone who's respected. Because again, what you see out here doesn't necessarily translate into the courtroom through judges and even prosecutors. Because there are some people listen, in every county, there's that person that, even though you're on the other side, the prosecution respects. Okay, well, this guy's handling this, I'm going to talk to him, as opposed to the person that's just really out there, that's just really unhinged and wants to fight over every little thing. You got to have somebody that has some sort of respect among other members of the bar.
Yeah, and I will tell you that again, some of the things that I've seen, and Terry's got a lot more experience than I do. I've seen a district attorney say, well, this person should have driven off. And when the reply is, their vehicle's electronic system shut that vehicle down, it was not able to drive off.
Right.
And the argument still comes, yeah, but they still should have. And we come back and say, would you?
It's an impossibility.
Would you like them to sprout wings and fly?
Yeah.
I've had attorneys on one side argue and say, oh, well, you don't know what caliber that fired bullet was. And I say, I have a picture of that bullet, and I can tell you exactly how wide across it is, and I can tell you that it matches the ones that were left in the magazine exactly, and that the handgun that it almost certainly came out of was chambered for this, and the measurements all match up. Although the coroner did not weigh it, I think that the preponderance of the evidence says that it was. And they go, yeah, but nuh-uh.
Right.
Okay, man, we'll put it before the jury. Are these people reasonable enough to say, well, it looks like a duck, and it walks like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, and it has feathers like a duck, but I can't guarantee you that it's a duck. And the way that you're going to avoid hiring those people is either go with somebody of incredible reputation that you have vetted yourself, which do you know the answers and how to ask the questions, or use a service like Firearms Legal Protection that hopefully has as well. And there are multiple services, guys, and you gotta ask which one's the best one for me in my jurisdiction with my needs or whatever. I can't tell you how the other ones do that. I can't tell you how they vet their attorneys. I can't. I can tell you how Terry, who is literally the Vice President of Legal Operations, this is what you do. Right? You go and vet attorneys. Like I say, went and had dinner with an attorney here in Phoenix who actually, we'll introduce him later. Actually, he just did my NFA trust. I don't know if he told you that.
I know.
Yay, cans and stuff. So when you vetted from that perspective, this is what somebody does, and hopefully you've seen him here on the channel for months and years now to recognize, oh, okay, this is the kind of guy that does that, then you know you've got it. So do me a favor, guys, don't hire a stupid attorney. Let somebody like this help you.